Even I am very amazed amongst the movements, trading, and the results amongst the buy low, sell high 6-step cycle, which I've talked about in a couple of videos. So I'm just going to just display it in here for now. And the overall results. I finished CLOAK working from the start all the way through. And it took a long time to get to the end of 2015, but it didn't take long to go after that. Because what happened was the trading got to extreme volatility for at the end of its cycle where it's staying in right now. It's playing around stages 3, 4, 5 all the time. It did not defeat stage 6, although it attempted it a couple times. It did not defeat it. But it hasn't been at stage 3 even, using my example, in quite some time. So what I've been getting in this simulation since the last, well, multiple years is buying and selling at only major increments, like 125% gain, buyback, losing half its value over and over and over. And even doing the same thing of buying 3 times its value, or 3x, and a 60% reduction. So let's go to the spreadsheet. And in this example, I started back when the price was 23,790 Satoshi, starting to buy 200. Oh, did that number ever rise, and rise large? It's fun. BTC in, that's when you sell. BTC out, that's when you buy. Some. I started with 0.05. It would have worked out that you would have needed an additional 0.17 to keep on buying. Part of the strategy. You have to stay in the game, can't get scared on down moves, and when selling goes on, just keep buying over and over. So therefore, I'm going to use a hodling for what happens to be 22% of your portfolio, or close there to such, to make it the same as this. But the comparison, it's only to show overall how it does as far as outperforming a base market. So it's relatively simple. You're playing around stage 1 and 2 in here. As we can see, it gets to stage 3 on row number 12. But everything stays in order. Now, situations are going to happen where in here you buy, you sell right off the bat, and then you buy. So in the second buy here, it's okay. I'm just going to keep on buying for the level 1, which is a 20% reduction. And that's what I kept doing every single time. Every single time it was making new lows, I'd buy, 20% lower, buy, and rinse, repeat in that cycle. But as far as what I put up, it was almost like I do oftentimes when I'm playing low stakes markets, where I'll just look at the math in my head and put a very good, close, accurate number. After all, the entire mathematics to begin with was just doing such, thinking, okay, I want to increase it in a variable. Like, okay, so 30% was good. I could have used 25. I could have used 20. Could have used 40. Of course, I settled on the 30 number. And so we have a bunch of buying and selling. Of course, the selling is always going to be higher than where it was on the last trade. And the buying is always going to be lower than the last trade. And the higher you move up in these stages, it didn't take long to get up to stage 5 in here. And you're selling at 162. You're selling 64 at 162. And then you're buying back 112, which probably should have been 128. No, 1.75x. That's right. 1.75x. That's right. So I sold 162 Satoshi 64 for 0.1, buying back for 0.09. So that's putting like 0.01 in the bank. Oh, and you would need it in the bank for later on. And then some more, of course, 0.17 more. And here's the situation where you have 2 sell orders come in a row. You buy at 81 to get this one. And then 47 to make up on this sale. Now level 2, 25,000 would have made up on the original sale at... or I would have just I think that might market conditions going to that price, but either way, you get to situations where you just do a lot of buying. At this point, the cash balance was 0.01. So this is where it ran out of Bitcoin. Was amongst this point here. And throughout, you get stages of buying and selling, like a bunch of buys in a row here, 3. And it's playing around with level 1 and 2 over and over and over again. Here's a spot with multiple buys in a row. But your portfolio at the time was worth 0.13 and you had 0.04 Bitcoin in the bank. So you were down. And that's what you're going to have in this game. You're going to have moments. It could be months and several months, if not even a year, where you're down. Depending on, of course, the market conditions. And if you're wrong and you play a coin that just keeps going down, then that's your ultimate risk here. But as we go through, we can see it's staying around stages, the lower stages, which is going to change soon because it's going to leave this area from 1 and never go back. So as we can see on here, hodling is 0.01 way down, and 0.12 is still down as well here. But when you have a Satoshi price of 1960 and it was at 23,000, you have already went through well over a 90% reduction. So when you enter in these coins, you have to be ready for falls of 90, 95% and be able to still fund the game. Especially if you realize fundamentally price movements down have nothing to do with its fundamentals. It's all just basic normal trading like we would see with all of these coins where they go way up and way down. But at this stage, it's staying at level 1, 2, and 3. Now here's where it leaves it for good. So here's a spot where your portfolio is already up to 0.68 after being 0.16 just recently before and 0.11 before. The starting venture again was 27 or 22. So now you had went a long period of time with the exception of a couple trades in here and one here where you were down well more than half your value. The hodling, of course, did worse, but I'll get to that later on. And now we can see that as we move into here, we are playing buying, selling. We sold at stage 5. So buy back here on, so we sold 27.54, 41, 74, and then 16. Buy back at 86. The 74 buys back at 48. The 41 buys back at 33. And then it starts selling, buying, selling. And again, we're not going to see level 1 or 2 again. And now it's trading back and forth between 5 and 4. If you watch the PivX, you get to see the phenomenal results it was doing trading back and forth between 1 and 2. But when you can trade back and forth between 4 and 5, if you look at it from this time here, sell at 55, sell at 10,000, sell at 22, buy back at 11. Sell at 25, buy back at 12, buy some more at 65, sell at 11. Buy at 76. Sell at 13,000. Buy at 76. Sell at 13,000 again. Buy at 89. Sell at 16,000. Sell at 36. Got to level 5, but that was about it. Buy back at 18,000. Sell at 40,000. Buy at 20. Buy at 10. Sell at 18. Buy at 12. Sell at 22. Buy at 14. Sell at 18. Buy at 12, sell at 21, buy at 14, sell 25, sell 57, buy back 28, sell 64, sell 193. It got to the final level, but it was unable to do what PivX did, and that's actually sell for 5x from this point on. Instead, it bought back at 77,000. And then it sold again at 231. Oh, are we going to go back and forth in 5 and 6? Yes, for at least for a short period. 92,000 buy. Back to 278. This is crazy. Buying, I mean, when you look at the phenomenal results, and this is just simple mathematics that you do on a calculator, and then you place the buy orders and sell orders and just leave them and forget them until you get a notification. I mean, easy work. I'm going to be doing this on several different coins. The next one's going to be Cardano in the next video. Buy back at 111. And now we stand right now at price at 58,000. Let's take a look at this 278 sale. This is where the order was in. And when you get lucky in this game and you have them orders ready, oh boy, is it beautiful. 278,000, a hair above it. Let's go back to the chart. This was a sell order right here, 278.016. And this is when it hit. The high was 325, good enough for me. And now the next buy order waiting is at 32,178. This sell order is no longer would be in play. Right now, I'd be looking to sell, continuing this game at 33,000 or 1/3 of a million, a little under such. Microscopically under 1/3 of a million. Looking to buy back at 32,178. Then another buy order at 16,000. Then another one at 4,000. And then again at 2,000. And then again at 1,000. 1,000 was a manual buy, I think. But it means all these orders get left in smoke, if you will. The big gap difference here between 16 to 4,000, that's a 4x move. But the overall mathematics here, starting with under 1/4 of a Bitcoin back in the time frame of middle of 2014. Bitcoin then would have been about a couple $100. So here you're talking about putting $50 into the deal. Oh, it's 1/3 of a million now. That's how big. Now, let's talk about a couple things. One, real profit taking. Do you really go into the higher stakes? I mean, I say yes and no. Yes, because holy shit, I don't know why I don't say it. I mean, the gains are so big, but this is a spot where it got to 100 Bitcoin, now at 57, which is over 1/3 of a million dollars. And you would have been starting off with, I mean, under 100 probably, or 200. I mean, it was months away from topping $1,000 when you started back in here. Hodling 0.5, and I have a chart for this, and it's magnificent how this chart looks. There we have it. Let me just make it so it's... So then, over 100 trades. The blue line, oh yeah, that's buying and selling. Notice how the markets work together. But when this thing is chopping back and forth, going back to where it come from, this is in a much nicer uptrend, especially when you can see what looks like a triple top-ish kind of formation on the orange line. And nothing of the like here. That's the whole plan in these types of buy low, sell high, is to overperform the market. And the reason why I threw these numbers in together, not only to get major gains, of course, as the obvious reason, but to be able to handle situations when markets go sky high. And it handled PivX, it's handled CLOAK really, really well. Now, Cardano has only been around since, we'll say the end of last year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go file. I'm going to save this as Cardano. Delete this. And then delete all of this as well. Because I'm going to start there. That will be the next video. will be Cardano. And when we look at it, I'm going to go right from the start. And I want to use the Binance exchange only because on Bittrex I already got Fibonacci lines, so I don't want to remove them. I'll be using the 3-hour. It's this, but I'm going to start right back at the beginning here, roughly at about right around this 1200 mark. So it's going to be, the market has barely doubled, no, not quite doubled, but close to it, at 1200, now at 2050. It's going to be a little bit, we're going to see the market go from 1250 down to 600. So there's going to be some buying. Then it's going to go all the way up from 600 to 8600, a 20x move. And there's no way a 20x, this mathematical number can easily handle a 20x move. They're going to have some wild up and down movements amongst the mid-January points, as well as this beautiful one that will occur in February. But a consistent level of buying, bunch of selling, so on and so forth. And interesting to see what the numbers will work out. And again, using the 6-step cycle amongst it. So you can look forward to that. Probably, well, if this video's been out for a while, it's already out. And if you're watching this new, it will not be that long, because right now, the only thing as far as cryptos I'm really care about putting time into is managing any trades that I have. And there hasn't been too many lately, so it's not like that's much time at all. And working within this mathematics here, because I kind of like this one. Of all the ones I've talked about, they're all pretty much similar in the buy lower, sell higher, buy on the way down, sell on the way up. You can use orders to your advantage really well. But this one seems to be my favorite one so far. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.